Hi and welcome back to another video on ethical hacking. So in this video we'll install Kali Linux. If you remember from our last video, we did downloaded the VM Workstation as well as we installed the VM Workstation on our PC in order to create a virtual environment. But now is the right time to install Kali Linux on that. So in the previous video we did downloaded the Kali Linux, and in this video I'll install the Kali Linux on our VM Workstation. For those of you who do not want to install Kali Linux from scratch, you can go to Kali Linux website. You can go to Kali Linux website and download a snapshot for either VirtualBox or VM Workstation. There are different snapshots available there, and you can just import that snapshot to your VM Workstation. All of the default settings and everything would be there, so you don't have to go through the Kali Linux setup and installation process and setting up your VM Workstation or stuff like that. So everything would be predefined and everything would be pre-built for you if you go through that snapshot thing. But for the sake of this course, I will not do that thing, the snapshot thing. I'll just install Kali Linux from an ISO for the sake of this course. But if you want me to do that, you can just comment down below and I will do that in the next video. But for this video we'll install Kali Linux from ISO and we'll go through it step by step. For those people who are willing to set the world on fire with their hacking skills, I would suggest them to calm down, because hacking is not something that you can just learn in a snap. It's a continuous thing. You will learn each step out of the way. So let's get started by opening up VM Workstation first, and once the VM Workstation gets opened, I'll click on create new virtual machine. That will open up a dialog box. In that I'll select installer, in which I will point to the ISO where I have saved the file. So I'll click on browse and then select the ISO of the Kali Linux. So basically I have downloaded the 64-bit version, but you can use the 32 if you are willing to. Then I will click on next, and in this panel I'll select Linux, and Debian 64 version would do for me. So that's okay. I'll click on next, and in the machine name I'll rename that to Kali and then click on next, and I will provide 20 GB of hard drive space and click on next. And in these settings I will customize something. So I have 6 gigs of RAM. I'll provide it something between 4 and 2, so that would be 3 or something like that. In the processors I will provide 2 cores, but you can have 1 core. The Kali Linux would work on 1 core perfectly. In the network setting I want to keep the default. The default would work for me, and I don't want to change anything else. Let's see. So everything looks perfect. I will straight away click on this close button and then click on finish. So everything is good. The next thing I need to do is run the Kali virtual machine. So on running the Kali Linux virtual machine, I'm directed towards the Kali setup. In that I will go with the graphical install. From the graphical install I'll basically install everything. I will install the Kali Linux basically. So here we are. I'll select language as English, click on continue, and United States, and American English keyboard would be okay for me. So it's detecting the CD-ROM and stuff like that. I will basically fast forward this to just save some time. Okay, so I'll rename the machine as Kali, and then in the network name, in the domain name I will add Kali2, and I will basically add my password. You can set whatever you want to have your password, and then click on continue. It will set up the clock and the next. So Eastern would work for me in this configuration, in the clock configuration, and in the disk partitioning, the guided use entire disk would work for me, and it does have one option, so all file in one partition would be okay. And let's finish up the partitioning. And yes, indeed, I want to write everything to disk, so I'll click on continue, and we are all set to go. So it will basically install the Kali Linux, and I will see you once the installation is done. Okay, so we are almost done with the installation process. Now that the installation process of Kali Linux is complete, it just restarted the VM Workstation, and I just downloaded some updates of the VM Workstation. So now that the installation is complete, I'll click on continue, and in the HTTP proxy I don't want to provide anything, so I'll click on continue in order to skip it, and now it will set up all of the configuration and package managers, stuff like that. So everything is almost done. The Kali Linux is installed, everything is okay, and hopefully this will end the installation process of Kali Linux. Okay, it's installing the Grub bootloader, and I'll click on yes, continue. And enter the device manually would not work for me, so it would be STA, and click on continue, and we are all set. So it will basically install all of the necessary softwares and everything, and I will fast forward to where everything is installed. Now we'll click on continue now, and once the installation gets finished, it will restart the VM Workstation again, and basically we will see the Kali Linux desktop or something like that. So everything is installed, everything is okay. If you are facing some problem or some errors while installing Kali Linux, because if you are willing to do it on VirtualBox, you will indeed find a lot of different errors. That's why I selected the VM Workstation for this course, because if you are installing Kali Linux on VM Workstation, you will not find any errors, but if you are doing it on VirtualBox, indeed you would. But if still on VM Workstation you are facing some problems, you can just download the newer version of Kali Linux. Maybe you have older version of Kali Linux ISO or something like that, so that's why you will face some problems. But if you have updated version of Kali Linux, everything would go well and everything would be okay. So Kali Linux is working fine. Congratulations if you are at this step. I will just log in with the root user, and indeed everything would work fine for me. So that is pretty much it for this video. If you have successfully installed Kali Linux, congratulations on that. In the next video we'll start some real things. In the next video, indeed, maybe I will install Parrot OS, because some people would not like Kali Linux, so I want to also make this course for them, and install the Parrot OS as well on my VirtualBox if they are not willing to use the VM Workstation. So they will be having an alternate of VirtualBox and Parrot OS. And indeed after that we will make some changes to our setting and configurations. So stay tuned if you are interested in programming and tech stuff and ethical hacking or hacking stuff. So have a pleasant day, bye for now, and everything is working fine for me. Let's just check the internet real quick. That internet is also working on our virtual machine, or Kali Linux, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. And I will click on Firefox in order to open it. And once the Firefox gets opened, let's just search for Google real quick, and indeed everything is working fine. So have a pleasant day, bye for now, catch you next time, bye, peace.